Meta is starting up time AI in here, signing on its biggest infrastructure contracts and up to $27 billion over 5 years for Dutch cloud provider Nebius for dedicated AI compute capacity. At the same time, the company is reportedly weighing layoffs and take as much as 20% of its workforce to fund an AI arms race. A big debt is projected to pour roughly $650 billion into AI this year alone. Welcome to Business Insights Daily. I'm your host, Shiv. Today, we're going inside one of the biggest techs written in the AI era so far. Not going to start the already lab, but for all the invisible infrastructure we built. Meta has agreed to spend up to $27 billion over the next 5 years on artificial intelligence infrastructure in Dutch cloud provider Nebius. Again, Meta's massive compute capacity starting in 2027, even as the company reportedly eyes sweeping layoffs to pay for its AI ambitions. Who really owns the brain behind the AI? As you listen, I want you to hold on to this question. When you open an AI app from a company like Meta, whose machines are you actually borrowed? Meta's or a whole ecosystem of cloud partners you've never heard of. Let's start with the distance. Nebius, a Netherlands-based AI cloud company that runs data centers and has strategic partnerships in India, announced a new 5-year infrastructure agreement with Meta worth up to $27 billion. Under the contract, Nebius will provide $20 billion worth of dedicated AI compute capacity across multiple locations, starting in as early as 2027. On top of that, Meta is offering to buy up to $15 billion more in capacity as Nebius builds out for third-party customers, bringing in the total potential value to gain to $27 billion. Nebius says much of this will be powered by one of the first large-scale deployments of NVIDIA's next-generation data building platform, designed specifically for training and running frontiers AI scaling models. This isn't coming up in years. Meta similarly had a roughly $3 billion agreement between Nebius last year, and this new contract dramatically expands that relationship. Why Meta is spending so much on content? Meta has been very clear. It wants to be one of the leaders, maybe the leader, in open AI models and consumer AI experiences. Around Llama family of models, the AI is embedded across Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and its hardware lists. Training and running those models at global scale requires enormous amounts of compute, racks of GPUs, specialized networking, power, cooling, and operational expertise to keep it all running. Instead of trying to build our own ADP stack itself, Meta is diversified. It runs its own data centers, works directly with NVIDIA, is locking into long-term capacity the cloud partner like Nubius. A spokesperson framed this as a way to lead a more resilient and flexible infrastructure. If the demand spikes, or if there are supply chain issues with chips, having multiple partners reduces the risk of hitting over. Industry analysts estimate that in Meta, Microsoft and Amazon and a handful of others, big tech could spend around $650 billion this year alone on AI infrastructure. Data centers and chips and related year in that context. $27 billion over 5 years is huge, but it's just one slice of Meta's broader AI industry. That brings us to the second sheet of the day. At what point is buying infrastructure stop being a back office expense and start becoming the new main strategy? The thing that determines what kind of AI products you can build. The other side of the ledger, layoffs. There's a harder edge to the story. Reporting in recent days, Meta is considering significant layoffs, potentially affecting 15 to 20% of its global workforce. As part of an effort to offset AI infrastructure and improve the efficiency, this could possibly mean roughly 15,000 to 16,000 jobs on the knife. On top of the 21,000 positions Meta undertook in 2022 was 3 years of decisions. No final decisions are currently, but Meta found the reports speculative. But inside the say, managers have been asked to prepare cost-cutting scenarios at that scale. CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been explicit that many products once required large teams can be done by smaller budget models using powerful AI tools, unless it simultaneously justifies the AI investment and potential ethical cuts. Would lead to the uncomfortable question. In this new AI economy, when a company sells tens of billions on chips and data centers, whose jobs and what kind of networks are going to be taken away to make that investment possible? We've talked a lot for now, but the Nebius is transformed. Nebius followed its dedicated AI cloud play and listed and shared in New York in 2024. Since then, its stock is roughly quadrupled as the demand for AI-optimized cloud capacity surged. With this new Meta contract, Nebius secures at least $12 billion with a committed revenue and a path to another $15 billion if Meta exercises the full option. The company says it will use the key while celebrate window of data centers and multiple DGs and to deploy NVIDIA's reliable platform at scale, effectively cementing its position as one of the small group of neo-cloud purpose-made AI workers. Investors brokers. Media shares jumped around 14 to 50% in early trading on Wednesday. In a statement, India's CEO Artiri Boros described the Meta agreement as cornerstone securing more large, long-term capacity contracts, signaling the company was to rely on a multi-year deal with the other AI giants as well. If you zoom out, this isn't just a corporate technical story. It's about reshaping power in the tech world. In the past, companies differentiated themselves with software, user experience, and maybe a handful of proprietary algorithms. Today, the ability to run and train and sell state-of-the-art models increasingly depends on access to massive, reliable, low-latency compute. In other words, AI capacity is becoming kind of a digital energy grid that only a few players can pay or rent at scale. Let us deal with Nubius is part of a broader plan where big AI players plot in multi-year supplies of chips and cloud resources, hoping to avoid the shortage and bottlenecks that define the early GPU boom. For startups and similar companies, that could be a double-edged sword. It may mean more available capacity eventually, but also higher prices and the market share by commitments made by giants years in advance. And then there's the environmental and regulatory angles. All of these data centers require huge amounts of electricity, and raising questions about whether the who it benefits and bears the local costs. So let's come back to these three questions to get ready to this room. Number one, who really owns the brain behind the AI? Things like this, even the biggest platforms are increasingly relying on specialized cloud parties like Nebius and NVIDIA's hardware to supply the raw computing power that sits behind consumer-facing AI apps. Number two, when this infrastructure becomes strategy, for Meta, locking in $27 billion of AI capacity isn't just an IT decision, it's the foundation that will determine how ambitious AI roadmaps can be over the next 5 years. And nothing. What's the trade-off between chips and people? The report of potential layoffs, on top of previous cuts, highlight the tension that many companies will face. To fund massive AI infrastructure builds, they may shrink some other parts of the organization or redefine which roles are core in the AI-first world. So, as companies race to build and buy the infrastructure for AI, it might be worth asking, not just what can this technology do, but also who's building the way it runs on and who pays the price. In dollars, in jobs, in energy to keep it running. Because somewhere behind every AI experience on a phone or laptop, there's a data center, a contract like this one, instead of choices about who or what matters the most. I'm your host, Sasha, and thank you for listening today. As always, stay informed, stay in, thank you for listening.